Yo, what's going on, guys? Vexio back, and today we got a brand new video on Bitcoin. We've smashed $50,000 and fell down from that, but to be expected, we all knew that Bitcoin was going to be having a lot of resistance at $50,000, and this price just right now, what we're looking for the chart is Bitcoin. Obviously, right now is just barely above this line. This is $49,257, and you can see it's barely over that. But we want to close above this line right here, above 49,257, to kind of get rid of this resistance and stay above it, so we can turn it into support. Because after that, there is nothing stopping, no forms of resistance or anything stopping until $58,275. So a lot more, almost $8,000 is going to be the run up until the next resistance. And even just staying in this channel would only be a few more days, or maybe like a week or two, to get to this level. But I think for this part here is where we might break out of this to, if we stay above 50, make 50 more of a support level, and then we might maybe see a big move up where we break out of this to the upside to this next resistance level. But I ran across this video on Twitter that it talks about, the importance of Bitcoin, why it's important. And I think a lot of people don't actually realize why Bitcoin's important and what they're actually giving up with either credit cards and stuff like that. So let's take a look at this video and react to it here, because it's a good video on talking about Bitcoin.
Why Bitcoin matters for human rights in 2 minutes. Today, cash is disappearing. Whether it's in the United Kingdom or the United States or Sweden or South Korea, a smaller and smaller amount of our daily transactions are done with cash. We have to think about the implications of a cashless society where all money is digitally centralized. We have to think about what happens when we lose the financial privacy afforded to us by paper money.
So for a lot of people, I don't think they actually understand what using a credit card and debit card means in terms of your information. So when you go to a store, when you go to Walmart, anything, a restaurant, anywhere where you pay with a credit card or a debit card, when you use it, all the information comes from that. Literally all of your information. Your entire name, your phone number, email, your address, all of it goes to whoever uses that, and they have a database where they have to store that. So that's why when we see these attacks on credit card store data and stuff from stores, we've seen it in the past with like Target and things. People get your full name, your email, your address, everything about you. That's where you get the phishing emails and all that stuff. And Bitcoin fixes that, because you don't need to have any information to send money to another person. Bitcoin is from one person to the next without this person knowing this person, or this one knowing this one. So that's the beauty of Bitcoin, where you don't have the threat of giving out all of your information and having that being leaked.
Think about the new powers that states and corporations gain as we trade our privacy and freedom for comfort and convenience. Because what you buy and sell says more about you than your words. Consider, when you make a transaction with a paper bill, the merchant doesn't know your name, your email address, your phone number, or really anything about you. By contrast, when you make a transaction with a phone or a wearable or a swipe or one day a chip, you reveal an enormous amount of information about yourself, which leads to control by corporations and governments, and censorship and surveillance, and gradually social engineering.
So we talk about that whole thing where all of your information basically gets sent to a database when you use, like they said, a phone, credit card, debit card, all of that. You have so much information that goes that I don't even think people realize they are doing. But what is even more important is that social engineering aspect of it, where people say like a Federal Reserve digital currency is the one where Bitcoin's no longer needed because the Fed will just do it. And that's where things get even more scary, because that means they can tax you on every single penny that you make and every single penny that you spend. You cannot use cash or get cash where that's not income. You can't be taxed on it. Even if you deposit in your bank account, you get all those things. You can get taxed on everything. On top of that, they can do things with money where they can set different interest rates for different groups of people, and saying if you're older than 40, older than 50, you have a negative interest rate in your bank account, and then if you're under 40, you get a positive interest rate. You get 2%, you get 1%, whatever it would be. And that's just doesn't make any sense. Why would people want to do that? And that's where you need that escape to Bitcoin, where nobody can tell you what you can and can't do with it. Nobody can stop you from making transactions. No one's spying on you. Bitcoin is pseudo anonymous. That means it's not doesn't have a name attached to it, but it isn't anonymous. You could track down the wallet and try and figure out who it is. It'd be very difficult. And then there's no names. You'd have to track it down to a KYC exchange to be able to know who it is. But you can track the wallets and see them interacting. So it's not anonymous, but it's pseudo-anonymous with no names attached.
Why Bitcoin is so revolutionary, because it lays the groundwork for a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, where unlike today's legacy arrangement, where there's banks and software companies and payment processors in the middle of every single digital transaction that happens. Instead, nobody's in the middle of you and the person you are paying. The payment processing is done instead by a global competition. And this is why, in a world and in a future where we will have state money, we will have corporate money, Bitcoin is more like the people's money. It is a way out. It is an alternative. Now, less than 1% of us have used Bitcoin, perhaps 50 or 60 million out of the 7.5 billion on this earth. But
this shows just how early we actually are. This is a little older of a video. It might be more than that. It's not much more. It's probably around 3% or something, maybe 5% now of people that are involved in Bitcoin, use Bitcoin, all that stuff. But that's still microscopic. That is nothing. That is the very beginning of Bitcoin. So for people to think that, Bitcoin is at the top where it's ever going to be, it's $50,000. It reached $1 trillion market cap. It's not going to get bigger than that. And they've always said that constantly every single time Bitcoin hit a milestone. So it's still very early, and Bitcoin will be able to actually change people's lives, especially if we go into this digital age where money is all digital. They get rid of cash and they use a Federal Reserve digital currency and no longer allow people the privacy of what cash gave you.
Thrives. Humans will have a money that can't be censored by authorities, that can't be devalued by governments, that can't be monopolized by corporations, that can't be easily mass surveilled, that can't be stopped by borders, and that can be accessed by anyone.
So these 6 things, very important to what Bitcoin brings to you. Obviously, they already named all of them, but not being censored, not being able to be devalued are massive things where that's what can happen right now. Your money in the bank account, even though you don't see it going down in value, it is plummeting in value. It is going down 2% a year on average. In this past year, it went down almost 6%. That means if you had $100, you only have $94 of purchasing power. You don't see the loss, because the dollar amount's the same, but everything costs more in the world now. That'll be because of money printing and things going on, and there's no money printing in Bitcoin. There's 21 million that will ever exist. That's it. You cannot make more than that. It's not going to happen. So you can't devalue other people's Bitcoin. Its monetary policy is very transparent. Right now there's 900 Bitcoin a day that are made. In 2024, the next halving, there will only be half of that being made per day. It's very transparent on what's actually happening. And then on top of that, it is accessible by anybody, and whereas normal bank accounts and money isn't. People don't even realize that. There's like 2 or 3 billion people in the world that don't have bank accounts. And with Bitcoin, all you need is an internet connection. And there you go. You can use Bitcoin and get involved in the Bitcoin network. And it banks the unbanked. But that's it for this little video. I think it did a great job kind of simply explaining what Bitcoin is, what it can do, why it's important. And if you don't have any Bitcoin, probably look into it and at least decide if you think the future is going to be cashless with digital currencies run by the Fed, which it already is. The dollar's digital. We already know that. But with stuff ran through the Fed, where you lose privacy and lose the ability to do things what you want with your money, where the Fed can block purchases for people using that stuff. They can set different norms. They can give you money that expires every whatever days. It gets into a weird place that is something where Bitcoin is an escape from. And to just end this video off with this little chart here, I guess, is there is always going to be something that is going to tell you it's not worth getting involved in Bitcoin. There's always going to be a narrative that says it's over. Don't even worry about Bitcoin. Don't think about it. You can see all of this. 2010 is too difficult. People didn't know how to get into Bitcoin, how to buy it, how to use it. You had to learn it. And there you go, it's too difficult. 2014, it's too risky. People were losing money. It had the boom and bust cycles. And it went up hundreds of percent, thousands of percent, and then fell 80%. And people, it's too risky. You don't want to get involved in that. 2018, this is when it went up to 20K, drop down that time period. It's too expensive, went to $20,000. It's way too expensive. You're too late. Don't even bother with it. Look forward to 2020, 2021. Bitcoin hits 65,000, falls back down. People are saying, "Oh my God, it's way too risky." It's back to 50K, and this is the predictive one, 2022. It's too late, and it will never be too late to get involved in Bitcoin. It's more than money. It's a monetary system where people can actually do things that they want without someone controlling it that they don't even know. But it's never too late to get Bitcoin. But people might feel like it is with the price and stuff. But adoption continues to grow. Everything moves forward. And there will always be a reason not to be involved in Bitcoin. And had you listened, if you knew about Bitcoin in 2010 and listened to all these reasons up to now, you'd probably be kicking yourself, just wondering why you didn't just get involved. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Why Bitcoin is just one of the most important assets, if not the most important asset in the world, and especially in a digital world where it looks like we are heading. So, as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.